Hey everybody, this is Tyler Dockery, and I'm back here for day 6 of the 30-day challenge. I really appreciate you coming by here, and thank you very much to those of you who are sending me positive messages. It really means a lot to me. Why does anybody find this? Maybe you're thinking about doing a 30-day challenge of your own, so please look at the link in the doobly-doo below. I know as a talking head that this is pretty terrible, and I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this so you don't have to see my Dungeons and Dragons supplies always in the background. I know that's terrible. I'm really focused on getting to look at you and think about you and think of this camera as a way to get in touch with you. Whereas a lot of times television is small. A very good friend of mine says, you know, if I keep things in this tight focused range, it's more like television. Whereas in theater, everything is big, and big actions grab our attention. Everything's bigger and larger than life. So I'll try to be a little bit better about that. Today we're talking about things that I wish that I had done. Regrets. A lot of them. More regrets for things that I wish I had done than regrets that I did something and I felt bad about it. So if you're out there and you're thinking about this stuff, go ahead, take a chance, especially while you're young. A lot of the things that I really do regret happened when I was younger. I'm happy where I am now. I don't feel bad about the decisions that I'm making now. When I read books personally, I like ones that take me into a fantasy land. I like ones that let me think about bigger, broader topics, more exciting things than the life that I'm living. But I love a book where the main character makes the right decisions every time, even if they seem strange, because they've thought them out, and I constantly am reacting instead of being proactive. Instead of activating something, I am reacting to something. That's really disheartening. So things that I had wished that I had done, whether they are things that I had wished that I had done, most of that happens in college or high school. Some of the things that I did when I was young and just getting started, I'm not happy about, but I don't regret those things. It was just a different time for me. And it seems like in my life, looking back, there are chapters that open. Things are appropriate. It's okay to look this way. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be this way. And then that chapter is over. Some of those thoughts move on with me to the next stage, and some of them don't. And so there's a lot of things out there. Maybe in my later 20s, 30s, that I feel really bad about, but not as many. Couple things that I do want to touch on: diet, dealing with people, saving and investing with money. All of those things are really important to me. Networking. Those would have all been great things to deal with. And then, of course, quitting. I quit one job, and that was a big problem for me. So let's try to look at this stuff. Diets. I'm 50, and as you get older, things stop making sense. Your body slows down. It's harder to do things. I still, if I needed to, could feel sick for 2 or 3 days and come out the other side losing 4 to 6 pounds. Not a problem there. But if I want to lose that weight and keep it off, it's super duper hard. I've eaten like a dumpster all of my life. Just whatever's there, just throw it inside and everything's happy. But now as I'm getting older, my body is used to putting out so much insulin all the time that I'm not diabetic, but it's not really good for me. I still want to eat and fill myself all the time. I don't like vegetables. I don't like fruit. I'm a big, carbs guy, and now I got to get around that. I wish maybe when I was younger I would have gotten on a kick where I could find some kind of vegetable something I could do one day a week, or something that would have stuck, but it never did. Probably 25 years of pizza every single Friday as a family tradition could have gone a lot better. But I got a sweet tooth too, and I love to drink. I brew my own beer, I distill my own alcohol, make my own wine, and I'm just a big cheap bastard, so that's not going to be any good for me. Dealing with people, there are many ladies that I would have liked to have gotten with if I could get out of my own way and stop being scared all the time. The worst case scenario could have really been that I talked to that person and they said, no, and by the way, you're ugly, everyone hates you, and then they burn my house down. But, what are the chances that that actually happened? Like, that would be a really bad day. What are the chances that that actually happens? Minuscule at best. So, a friend of mine said that one of the things that keeps her life interesting is that if someone gets up the gumption to ask you out, whether you like them or not, you just say yes. And that opened up a lot of doors for her to get to know lots of people. She didn't like them. She got to know them. Some of them she's good friends with. Some of them not so much. But getting to know people are really important. I love all my friends. I do anything for them. I love getting to know new people. It's always exciting. You can tell a lot about people right off the bat. Not by first impressions, but more of where the meetings tend to go after you meet someone for the first time. So I think that's always very interesting. I'm very cheap. I skimp on things. I could have a system for my thousands of Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, but you'll see behind me that they're all in toolboxes with masking tape and names on them, because I can't really see myself working out hundreds or thousands of dollars to put those things up when you can buy those at Harbor Freight for $6 when they're on sale. So I don't skimp on people, but I do skimp on things. And so when I ran my own business, Dockery Designs, I paid my workers what they thought was fair. And then I charged my clients what I thought was fair. If I buy something, if it's for me, I go as cheap as possible. But if it's a laborer, I give them all the money that they're due and a little extra on top, because I would want them to do that for me. I don't skimp on people. As part of not skimping on people, it would have been great for me to have done a little more networking when I was in school. Again, I'm not really comfortable in my skin, and I'm what's known as a loud introvert, meaning I don't want to talk to other people unless I know you. And once I get to know you, it's like we've been friends for a very long time, even if I've only just met you 15 minutes ago. But if I am not introduced to someone, if I don't feel comfortable, I'll say 2 or 3 things, and then I will shut down and put up these gates around me. A lot of that has to do with just series of trauma that I've had in the past, but a lot of the connections that I made with people, good friends that I had when I was in high school, where are those people now? I don't know, because I don't do social media for myself personally. They don't know me, and I don't know them, and they don't reach out to me, and I don't have any idea what's going on. So that's really tough. People I know in college went on to these mega careers and shot up through the ranks in creative director positions and opening and running their own companies, and I have had lots of times when I wish that I could have reached out to them and asked for some help, but I'm not real good at keeping that stuff. I might have kept some emails, but trying to get in touch with an old computer case from 1998 is not super easy. So I wish that I had kept in better touch with people. Definitely. Monetary investing would have been fantastic. I got my first big job working as a graphic designer, not freelance work, not a couple of bucks here or there, but first consistent big time money in 1998, and they had a very small investment opportunity that went for 6 months with a cap, and I managed to save about $600, and then I ran into a problem we'll talk about here in a minute, where I had to go to the bank and take all of that money out, and that was not very much money. It had only grown to like $700, but my child had just been born, so that was 20 years ago. How far would $20 grow, or $700 grow in 20 years? Probably not very far, but maybe enough. Once you start counting in all their pennies, that would have really been an opportunity for me, and I failed to invest. And so by the time I did start thinking about how to invest in my future, I was probably already in my 40s. I've had cancer. I probably won't make it until the 80s, although I'm shooting for 86. That's almost 40 years down the road. And with the shoulder shrug generation, there's a lot of problems out there with what Social Security is going to look like. Who knows? It will probably take a war to cancel our debt, and there will be a very long road to recovery after something like that. And then the last thing that I should probably kind of talk about is I quit a job when I didn't have another place to go. I took a job because it had the title that I want, and it paid about a third of what I wanted to get paid. And so I worked there for a few years. I moved up to the next highest tier and got an even better job title. It was truly fantastic, but I wasn't making anywhere near enough money to even come to, a third. Well, probably more than a third, but I wasn't anywhere near half of what I needed to get paid. And so I sat down and I talked about, here's the rate for what my old job title was. This job title is $100 and some $1,000, but my old job title was 75, and right now I'm getting paid 28. It's not enough money. And I made a really good case, and they said, okay, we'll give you $2,000. And I was like, no, I need something that's more commensurate, and they couldn't go that far, and so I quit. But I didn't have another job, and so I didn't have anywhere to go. I was living in my house, and my wife had to start borrowing money. I had to borrow money from my parents every now and then, but a lot of the money that we got came from my wife's mother. And all of this money that we were spending had to come from somewhere, and I could not get a job. It was terrible. And around that time, my daughter started nursing, and then she stopped. And we couldn't afford formula. We had to go down to the WIC office. They wouldn't let us get on unemployment because I had made too much money the prior year, and I had not had enough time. The employer that I was on, or that I had just left, was not required to pay me unemployment. So there was just very, very, very little money for us to live on. And I just remember sitting with my wife in the women and infant care office. I had my child. She was losing weight. She wasn't nursing. I didn't have a job. My wife didn't have enough to cover the expenses. She was in graduate school at the time. And just both of us just breaking down in tears. And there was literally nothing that could be done to help us. But the lady went and got 2 containers of formula out of a locked cabinet in the place and gave it to us and told us not to reveal to anyone that we had gotten those services. So I was not prepared. I wish I had thought more about my future and my family instead of thinking about myself. And I had to pay the price. I had never counted the cost. I just paid it. I quit. And it was a really dark time. I sold a lot of things that I didn't really need, but they were still very precious to me. We got on a very different way of looking at the future. And then I got extremely lucky getting a job working for the college and getting some clients and starting my own business and working for my friend. It was a very tough time. But through it all, being able to work for someone who could give me regular payments really, really helped. That got dark really, really quickly. Okay, anyway, so there are things in my life that I wish I had done. And it's real easy looking back. And I think that if you take some time today, if you take anything away from today's session, look back and see, when you made a mistake, it's okay if you learned from it, right? It's okay to fail if you learn. If you hit the wall going 90 miles an hour, that's okay if you learned something. If you tried your best, your hardest, and you crashed, it's fine. If you took the safe way out and then you got last place, that's not as easy to be proud of. So when you're thinking about what it is that you wish that you had done, think about what those things taught you. Have they made a positive change? And what are you going to do to change that today? Probably nothing, but I urge you, write down a list of 10 things that you want to do, and then choose one item off that list and make sure that it's going to take you where you want to go tomorrow. Just do one thing off that list. It doesn't matter what it is. If you think that your house needs to be repaired, go buy paint. Set up a space. Put a schedule on the calendar that you're going to do something. All right. This has been an emotional journey for me. Down in the doobly-doo below, I'll have the link to Raj Solo, the person who got me started. There'll be the bit.ly link where you can download my list of things that I talked about during this session. You don't have to do anything. You just download them for free. Make yourself a copy. Do whatever it takes. If you like the way this is going, give me a thumbs up. It's nice for me to read your comments. I'll respond to every single one that I can. Also, does this suck? It's hard to hear. Your face looks like a foot. Whatever it is. Give me a thumbs down. Give me a comment as to why. You'd be surprised. I will read those. It will help me to get better. Thank you very much. I hope you all are having a great week, and for the love of Pete, please design your future. Thanks.